This is Friday evening, November 10th, and this is a tracking word. I would probably title this word Beyond the Veil, because this has to do with what is pulling us through this transition right now. We're going to talk out of the book of Psalms, chapter 36, and also the book of Hebrews. I believe it's, chapter 10, 11, or 12. I don't have it in front of me. But in the book of Psalms, it says, "In thy light we see light." And what's happening to the sons during this time is that they are being caught up into the presence of the Father. And in that presence exists a realm of light that we have not experienced. So what is happening is that those areas that have been hidden are being revealed to each one individually, and it's not the same for any one person. The area of homework that you need to work on, those areas that have been hidden from your eyes, are being illuminated. And the canopy of His presence is the basis from which we're moving and functioning. But the application of what you see is uniquely different to each person. For one person, there may be certain issues that they have to deal with or resolve. And up until now, it's been a little bit out of focus. Exactly what is the issue and what do you do about it? What is it within you if that's the case? But as we move higher up in His presence, and that is what is happening, you are moving up higher in the Father's house. And that doesn't even take any great revelation to understand that. Because how does the word go in Matthew? "Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God." As the purity continues to be brought forth, the eyes of your heart are opening up. And that comes by virtue of a level change that's happening as you continue to ascend into the Father's, presence more and more, until we find that our basis of functioning is from His presence more than ever before. But the promise in the book of Psalms is, "In thy light I see light." And it's in that realm of His presence that we see what we have not been able to recognize, that which seems to have been hidden from our eyes. And it's not so much that we're talking about the dark energy and what the enemy is doing. Not so concerned about that, as I am that which we have not been able to see within ourselves, that needs to be resolved or addressed, or anything else, or that within yourself that needs to come to a point where you begin to see yourself as you truly are. Not even some negative thing as we would perceive it, like you got this homework to do, as much as it would just be an unveiling where all of a sudden the shrouds come off your eyes and you see who you are. But that happens in the atmosphere of the Father's presence. In His light we see light. And that is not conditional, like it's only going to be concerning this issue or that issue that you see light. No, we're being birthed and baptized into the realm of light. And all things are becoming visible to us. That is an experience that's happening. And that's where the application of the word has the power in it, because the inner quickening that's happening in the sons is coming out of this realm of light where you're seeing what you had not seen before, what you had not recognized nor understood, and it seemed as though there was a veil. And that veil is being removed, but it's being removed because we are being caught up into the Father's presence. And what's interesting is that this realm of light, or realm of sight, it's interesting because it may not necessarily be an issue of introspection, an issue of something that you need to change within you that you haven't recognized. It may have nothing to do with that. But as we move into this realm of light, it could purely be that which pierces the veil until you see what is here and what is available, and you grab hold of it. And that comes from this realm of light. How does it go in the book of Hebrews? It talks about how they saw from a distance that which was coming, and they reached into it. Those that walked with God during that time, referencing the book of Hebrews, saw way into the future. It was like living in the realm of light, and it became known to them, and they saw, and they reached in and grasped it. And yet, they, without us, are not made complete. As much as they've reached in, they're still not complete. But there was an element that opened up, and they saw far into the future a provision, and they latched onto it. More than we understand, we're beginning to experience what I would call the intense focus, or ataniso, as the Greek, the Greek word for this focus. And we've talked about this type of focus before. It's a focus that extends a particle of union from you. So it's not just some mental exercise, but it actually becomes an extension of your spirit. And so we call it focus because that's the word that we've associated, but that does it injustice. It may be better not to call it anything or to rename it, because it's not focus as we've known focus to be in the carnal level. There is something different about the focus of our spirit versus the focus of our soul and mind. The soul and mind have a certain intent and focus and decision and whatnot, but we're still learning our spirits. We're still coming to a place of understanding our spirit. And so what we're talking about is a focus of our spirit. And that focus involves literally an extension of yourself. And so that is the type of focus that was experienced by, I think, Peter and Paul outside, at the gates of Jerusalem when they looked on the man that was sick. And he was begging for alms, and they said, "Silver and gold have we none, but what we have, we give you," so on and so forth. And it says, and they fixed their gaze upon him. And, I can't tell you the actual scripture. You have to look it up for yourself. But they fixed their gaze. And so we look at that and we say, well, they were focused. And so the Greek word for this type of experience was ataniso, or a particle of union. Something happened in the focus of these two upon this sick man that was more than just, looking intently upon someone. It was an extension that happened from them to this man that brought an impartation and change. That is the ateniso focus of our spirit. And so we've talked about this word on ateniso and the violent focus and the fixed focus. I've had people come to me, guides, if you will, or whatever they were. They didn't necessarily say exactly what they were, teaching me about this focus and what could be achieved with this type of focus. And they were very adamant, and it came a number of times in different ways. Different ones appeared to teach us about what this focus is. And I threw my hands up. I was like, I can see that you guys have this, but I don't have this. And I didn't know how to get it. Afterwards, I'd say, okay, well, Lord, I've received what you're saying, but I don't know how to get there from here. I feel like I'm in the Grand Canyon. I'm on this side, and what you just showed me is on the other side of the Grand Canyon. How do I get there? And so often, that's how it is with the Lord. He puts things out that are just really outside your paradigm. And, it can challenge you greatly. And I never really understood that what he was talking about was my spirit. There was an impartation coming to my spirit, and it was going to be a function of my spirit, not my soul, not my mind. And it's something that is coming now. And it's going to come more and more. I see it. And I'm thinking to myself, Lord, this has taken a number of years in the process for us to come to this place where this word or this vision could be fulfilled. It was way ahead of its time, Lord, when the different ones appeared, because I wasn't able to hear it, nor see it, nor understand what you were saying, but now I understand. It's an element of our spirit. And this is beginning to happen because of the ascendancy of our spirit over our soul. And the more this ascendancy happens, the more the Spirit comes into control, the more we're going to find a whole new level of experience born out of the function of our spirit. And so that, is really what we're addressing. And that's what the men and women and children in the book of Hebrews had. Something happened to them, and they experienced that type of ateniso focus as they dwelled in the light. And they saw from a distance, they saw way into the future the provision of resurrection life and the provision of sonship that was to come. And as the book of Hebrews references, they reached in and grabbed it. They got a hold of it. And yet, without us, they're not complete, and it will not be fulfilled. And so, what is happening in this whole realm of light that is opening up to us is an amazingly mystical thing, because it's not just relegated to one little experience. It's a transformation of how we have functioned as people, literally. And now is the time. And so there are these moments, as I mentioned to Anne, they may just be a brief moment. It could be a microsecond, or it could be a short window of time where, as you dwell in the light, the veil is peeled back and you see. And what you see is where you're headed. You see the provision. You see what's coming. And in that instant, your spirit latches onto it. and it may then just be gone. You see it for just a moment. It doesn't matter how long. The fact is, when the minute that veil is pulled back, even for a microsecond, and your spirit gets it, then you've got it. And so what happens in that type of an experience? Your spirit is thrown out a lifeline, you might say. There's been an ataniso scenario happening where a particle of union has left from you and connected into that which you saw, just like the men and women in Hebrews. And so something is happening more than what we understand when the realm of sight opens up. And when you see something for just a moment in time, there is something that happens in the connection where we're automatically into a different mode of being drawn and pulled up into that. And we may not even be aware of what's happening. It's just that in that moment of time, your spirit sees there's an extension, extended from you. You latch onto it, and then it may just be gone in a second. But it doesn't matter. It only took a millisecond, and you latched onto it. And then what happens is you begin to go through that process of being pulled up into that realm, into that level that you saw. And the difference is, in the book of Hebrews, it was thousands or hundreds of years to be in the future, thousands. They saw way in the future. But now, as the sons see it, it's no longer in the future, but it's right here in the present, because this is the time for that fulfillment. We've talked about the importance of moving by revelation and moving in the light. I think we just need to understand that there's something happening to us, and we're not going to have to work at it. The soul wants to work at it, but the spirit just opens up to receive. And this experience of ataniso, this fixed focus, this aspect of sonship, where we literally can create and do virtually anything by virtue of just our focus, is something that's beginning to happen to us. There's nothing that we could do in our soul or mind or discipline that's going to make it happen or make it happen any sooner, because it's an element of spirit. And, this might be overkill, or we've said this before, but at the right time, the doors open up. There's a timing of the Lord for everything. And I know that on our part, we're groaning and travailing to get into this, and we're trying to figure out, Lord, what more can I do? As if, there's something that we have to do. The one thing, of course, we know is that He wants us to speak the word, so we do that. But what's coming, like everything in the lives of the sons, is tied to a timeline. And, so you could say, well, what is that time? Well, the time for each son is different, and for each breakthrough is different, because it's all predicated on preparation. It's not that, okay, well, on this day it's just going to happen. No, it happens as the sons are prepared. And so this whole element of that's opening up is really tied into our preparation. And so this whole aspect of ataniso, the violent fixed focus that's going to bring in the kingdom, it's not based upon the soul. It's not based upon your discipline. It's not based upon your devotional life. It's entirely based upon the Spirit. And as you're ready, God brings you into it and the doors open up. And I believe that's going to happen even more rapidly now. Because God knows that we would love to move in this type of fixed, violent focus and really, turn things loose and bring in the kingdom and so on and so forth. But it has to come and be born of our spirit. The further we go down this path, the more we're going to understand that this is really all about the revealing of our spirit. It's not what you are in your soul and your flesh, your mind, your personality, but it's who and what you are in your spirit that's the key here. And we're still learning, still trying to come to a place of understanding our spirit and understanding who and really what we are. And this displacement that's happening within us, spirit over soul and so on. I mean, we're in many ways a very complex creation. But we're experiencing these changes, even if we don't quite understand it. But it's happening to the sons right now. God is birthing the sons into the realm of light. And, one of the benefits of that is very interesting, as I was telling Ann earlier today. Being birthed into this realm is not just relegated to certain things like, okay, well, now I'm going to see spirits better, or I'm going to get more revelation or whatever. But it's like, in thy light, I see light. And that which has been hidden from thine eyes becomes visible. And I found that even the most minute things can no longer be hidden. Even little issues that we've been working on, things that we've been looking for answers on a normal physical level, just things that have been unanswered. All of a sudden, clarity comes. And it's all because we're being birthed into the realm of light. And that which has seemingly been hidden, answers, direction, input, whatever, is now being exposed. And it's no longer hidden. And it's not even a negative thing. We're not even talking about the satanic side that hides in darkness and so on and so forth. We're just talking about things that have been hidden from your eyes, from our eyes, from being able to grasp and understand and see. All of a sudden, in the realm of light, these things become visible to you. And you may look at something and say, well, I thought this was the issue, or this was the issue, or this was the issue, or this is the answer I need. And yet, as you're birthed into the realm of light, you're looking and say, my gosh, it was none of that. This is the issue, and this is the answer. Done. Because in the realm of light, all things become known. This thing of the realm of light intrigues me deeply, because our Father is the Father of lights, and we are the sons of light. And we're just coming to understand it. And something that I saw a few nights ago, and I saw it again tonight, in that moment of time when the veil is parted, I saw a different life that we're going to live, a whole different mindset of how we have seen everything around us. And it's all going to change. It's not that we're going to bring the baggage of what we are and our perceptions into the fullness of His presence and into the kingdom. That's not going to happen. Oftentimes you would think, well, when I get into his presence, how am I going to deal with it? And, all these issues I'm kind of carrying along, but it's not going to be that way. Because everything is shifting. And it's like a word the Lord gave a few years ago. He told me, you're going to barely remember what it was like to have lived under a life of oppression and battle and warfare and limitation and lack. It'll be like a very faint memory, hard to recall as we make this transition. So we're not going to carry the baggage of our mind and how our mind thinks and our mindset into this level, because as we pass through this veil, that which has remained of our carnal mind is going to be removed and replaced by the mind of Christ. Or you could say in another way, a whole different paradigm, because that's what I saw. It wasn't necessarily like a paradigm change, as it was that everything looked completely different. It's like, I don't know. Everything, it says, behold, I'm doing something new. Everything is being made new for the sons. And it's like you don't and you won't even have the capability to think in terms of lack or limitation. That's what I saw. The capability of that's even gone. And so something's happening within our spirit that is laying hold and catching hold of that which is just on the other side of the veil, but that's coming now for us. And the more we get these glimpses, the more our spirit is going to latch on and bring it into being. So we are living in the realm of light, and we're coming to live in the realm of light. And everything is going to be different. We all wish it would happen more quickly, but I think it's happening pretty quickly now. So this is a tracking word. Call it beyond the veil. I don't know what you would call it. But we're reaching into something on the other side of this veil, and we're locking into it. Almost, like the warplanes are out there and they just lock the laser beam on another plane or something. We're locking into it, into the provision, into a new level of existence in life, and we may only see moments of it. But it's right on the other side of the curtain. And for a moment in time, the curtain is pulled back, and you see it, and you latch onto it. And it's going to happen more and more because, like I said, I'm so intrigued about this realm of light. We are the sons of light. And you recall I've spoken about the vision of a couple of years ago, different ones coming to us from different worlds, having been drawn to the brightness of our rising, a brightness that they had never seen before. And they were drawn from distant worlds to seek out the light. And that light are the sons who are coming to birth now. That's who you are. That's who we are. We are the sons of light. And that is continuing to change the playing field And we'll continue to change the playing field as we move forward. We keep speaking the word. Just keep speaking the word. The quickest way to get to, just to dispel all of the clutter and just put yourself right in the center of His light. You just speak the word. Speak the word. Speak the word. That's really all He's asking of us. We don't even have to try and discipline ourselves into some fixed focus and make it happen. We don't have to do that because it's already happening. And maybe you could say, okay, I know a little bit of what's coming now because it's starting to happen, even baby steps, but it's starting to happen. And everything is going to change. So we bless this word tonight. Thank you, Lord. Amen.